Good morning, everybody. Welcome to a Friday show. I'm running at half speed today, so you'll have to bear with me. Hopefully you're doing all right. So welcome to Break the Cycle with DSD. Let me get my stuff all lined up. I'm your host, Dwayne. I'm not a therapist. I'm an individual much like you who's been through a rough experience and developed some tips and techniques that I used over the years that helped me, that I share with you to help you get your life back. Break the cycle of abuse, minimize the impact of your toxic ex's behavior, and help you rebuild and strengthen the relationship with your kids. Remember that only a licensed professional can diagnose somebody with a personality disorder, so be careful throwing around terms to people. It could get you into some trouble. I mean, if you know somebody and you really trust them, okay, fine. But for the most part, just focus on the patterns of behavior. It hurts your credibility more when you start going down this other road. It's really weird how that happens, but that's something you need to be aware of. If you like what's going on here and you want to support the channel and keep it going, you can do that by becoming a channel member over at YouTube. Just go to youtube.com/dadsurvivingdivorce. Look for the join button. And when you do, you get special badges, custom emojis, your name listed in the credits, member-only events, and a member-only section on the Discord. I guess I need to add that onto the list. If you want to get notified via text message when I do go live, you can text DSDLIVE to 844-598-0012, 844-598-0012. And on that, oh my gosh, hopefully you guys are doing good today. We made it to another Friday. Hopefully you have your coffee. I'm just starting mine. What a crazy week. Apologize about yesterday. But sometimes things just happen. I think the weather change has kicked up some extra problems for me. It's kind of frustrating. But, well, it is what it is. Hard to believe that the month is basically over. Tomorrow's Halloween and we're moving into November. And November's got its own. Next week will be interesting, to say the least. Hopefully for you guys who do have your children for the Halloween holiday, you're able to do something. Technically it is my year for that tomorrow. So, I actually asked my youngest the other day, I'm like, so, with the, she's 15 now. I mean, you can't go anywhere. I'm like, what do you want to do? I mean, do you want to go, did you and your mom have something you wanted to do? Cause her mom likes to dress up sometimes. And I'm like, everything's closed. And she's like, I want to dress up and I want to sit on the couch and I want to eat candy in the corner. And I'm like, all right, we can do that. We can also grab some pumpkins. Hopefully I can grab some pumpkins for my pumpkin and carve those up. So I think we're going to have a quiet day. Where I live, typically, even during normal times, nobody shows up over here. It's like maybe one person. I have friends in other areas where they have to just, pile up on everything because they just get inundated. So I haven't seen anything like that in quite a while. Now, I do have some notes from a topic that I did want to hit, and you'll have to bear with me in case, like I said, I'm operating at half speed. Anyways, what I wanted to hit, actually I wanted to hit this yesterday, but obviously that didn't happen. And it's how these people continue to do the same thing over and over again. So, toxic, narcissistic people will repeat the same patterns over and over and over for years. The behavior that you're dealing with today, more than likely, will be the same behavior you're dealing with probably in 10 years. It's hard to believe that. It's hard to see that somebody cannot grow and change, and they get stuck in these behavioral patterns that are just so damn toxic. Now, the positive part on this, sorry about the plosives, the positive part on this is that we can change. We can grow. You can change. You can grow. You can heal from this. You can mature. You can learn new skills. You can, become a better person. I mean, even the other day when we were talking with Dr. Baker, and I do believe this, and I know you guys have heard me say this before. I think one of the benefits for me personally going through this is I ultimately became a better parent. I had to modify my baseline approach because had I done things the way I intended to do it, or the way I thought I was supposed to do it, or the way it was done to me, would have absolutely been utilized to drive a wedge through the kids. And I would have played an active role in the alienation. Doesn't mean you let them walk all over you. Doesn't mean you just become a doormat or what's the other word? Rug. It means that you have to be more methodical and more thoughtful and more strategic in the decisions that you make. Here's the other thing. Since these people follow the same patterns, once you understand it, once you understand what you're dealing with, you can really begin to anticipate and guess and plan for what they're going to do. I know I've said this in the past too, but early in this process, whenever it dawned on me, actually, I'll tell a little bit of a story. Early in this, I remember there was one point when I was still married. It was like the last few months, and the ex had made a comment, pointing a little finger in my face, saying something along the lines of, "You don't even know who I am." And I remember that hit really solid with me because I'm like, holy crap. And the veil started to just disappear, and I started to really see things clearly. And it was really odd to have, 2 decades of living in a fantasy land, me living in a fantasy land. And finally, that little comment, coupled with that 2 decades, things started to clear up. And what I realized shortly after that is, oh my God, I'm dealing with basically a teenager or a toddler, or maybe a tween. And when I started, especially when this thing happened, when I started to okay, so if the ex wasn't a 43-year-old or 44-year-old, well, no, she was older than me, so 43, so 45-year-old person, but instead was a 12-year-old, what would they probably do? And I'll tell you, the crazy part about that is once I started doing that, it didn't make sense. It still was hard to grapple with, but it did. I started to understand or guess or see what the behaviors were going to be. It's just, it drives you crazy. But again, my point on that is that's something that you can actually use to your advantage. Once you understand what you're dealing with, you can anticipate. And I mean, and technically, you can also then use that information to, I wouldn't say set them up, but let them perform. I wouldn't say at their best, but at their truest nature. Let them demonstrate to the world on their own terms what they are. It really is crazy. Oh, I like what T Solo says here. It says, you never know your ex until you meet them in court. Well, then you're going to get their true nature, right? You're not going to get the manipulation because they don't need to anymore. See, I guess that's the one nice. I mean, okay, it's not nice. Court it's a tragic thing, but the mask drops. The facade is done. Once they realize that, hey, I don't have to try to pretend. I don't have to try to manipulate this person to get them to do what I want because I've won, and all bets are off. And they just basically go down that road. Oh, we're having. Well, for the people who are saying it's buffering, know that the podcast version is being recorded locally, and that will be available. That sucks that it's buffering, so I apologize on that. I did not. Hopefully, I don't know if everyone's having issues, and it's probably my side. It does not surprise me for the crazy Friday or the crazy week that I've had so far. So here's the other thing. When you're dealing with someone like this, typically the only way to get them to stop is to have a significant victory or to find a significant pain point so they stop. The problem is that you have to remember that thinking as a tween, they don't have the maturity, even though they should, to understand the consequences of their actions. They typically will destroy everything in the process, to include themselves, to win. You know, it's one thing when a child does it because it's not that big of a deal. They're throwing their little temper tantrum and they're learning something potentially. But at the end of the day, mom or dad can throw them over the shoulder, put them in their room, put them in a timeout, and have some consequences. When it's somebody who effectively is destroying thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's the damage is pretty tough. So the sad result is oftentimes we and the children end up being the collateral damage of that exercise. The thing is, if you understand all of this, you understand what the potentials are, you can take steps to put yourself in the most, positive or strategic, protected position as you possibly can. There is going to be an impact. There is going to be a consequence to us as well. But if you understand what you're dealing with, then you have a hell of a lot more of an opportunity to not be completely exposed. I guess that's the way I'm trying to say it. Is that you can say, okay, I understand what's probably going to happen. I can move my chess pieces to the best position possible and hopefully ride this out as much as possible. So that was the topic. I know that we had some problems with the video and everything. Oh, one thing I would say is if you are a channel or YouTube, what do they call it? Premium now? Premium member, you have to pay for that. I think it's like $14 a month. Maybe it's less. But it gives you the ability to close the video down and just listen to the audio, which has helped me in the past when I was in a bad coverage area. However, if it's coming from my side, that could be a little bit more problematic. But I see people saying it's not buffering anymore. So, all right, I didn't post the phone numbers, but I did turn everything on. So I'm going to check the comments here, and then I'll go to the caller. So caller, stand by. I'll be coming to you momentarily. So hopefully everybody who missed, I guess probably in some ways, the buffering will make it to where people didn't catch everything. Oh, John Boston says, Dwayne, my ex said, quote, "You don't know me." Man, again, they all follow the same playbook, don't they? I realized it wasn't her trying to be understood. It was her telling me something would happen that I would never imagine. Wow. Dude, I hadn't thought of it that way. That's a great point. I mean, I took it in the context of the conversation. In my situation, it was just more, I mean, you're right. Ultimately it turned into that. I wonder if that's what she meant. Hadn't thought about it. Back then I hadn't moved out. I mean, I don't know if we were talking about a divorce then or not when that comment came up, but I was trying to have communication and, it's like, look, let's discuss things. Let's work on the issues. So pretty crazy. Oh, I like this. Aaron in Oz says, while going through the court process, I applied the word carnage to everything. Oh, that's funny. I like that though. Yeah, I don't mean to laugh, but I actually do find that I like those dark humor things. Defy Dad says, DSD, it's the selfish self-absorption and lack of respect and consideration for the other parent and children that is mind-blowing. Constantly staying in strategic mode isn't healthy for a person. It depends on how you look at it. I would disagree with, I understand what you're saying, because I know in the beginning, and when I was trying to be strategic and when I was tactical probably more as opposed to strategic, I was in this constant state of fear and paranoia and PTSD, and that was not healthy. But after a while, I started to realize, okay, I have my defenses set up. I know what my steps are. I know what my actions are. So I was anticipating what was going to happen or what could happen, and I had a plan to deal with it, but I was able to put that kind of on the shelf, like, okay, there's a strategic plan to deal with, this scenario. We do that a lot. Where I work, we do a lot of planning and wargaming and stuff like that, and we'll do exercises like, all right, this week, or, this month's exercise, we're going to pretend there's a downed aircraft. And then the next one might be an earthquake. And then the next one might be active shooter. And then we go through the scenario of, how you deal with it. You practice so that way, when the situation comes, you already know what to do and you're not freaking out. And maybe that's the advantage I had in dealing with this, is that's kind of the way I looked at it. So I built in my own mind these these plans on how to deal with different scenarios. And it was like, okay, then it kind of gave me some more peace. It gave me peace because then I didn't have to try to figure out what to do in the moment. And I felt more at ease because it's like, okay, if something happens, I have a plan. I have an idea. If I need to, if I need a lot of money really quick to go back to court, I can sell everything, which I didn't want to do, but I could do. Anyways, so I am going to attempt to go to this caller, area code 470, return caller, and hello and welcome to the show.
Hey, Dwayne, it's Tumblr.
Hey, how's it going? I was beginning to think that this wasn't going to work. So how you doing? My eyes are kind of blurry, so I can't really read what it said. So what's going on?
Oh, no worries. I called you on Monday to I kind of gave you an update that the jail pretty much just
slammed you.
He recommended that. Yeah, he slammed me and smeared me and minimized whatever the ex did. And so I just and that was the day right before I went to final trial, and now it's over. And I got to tell you, it actually wound up working a lot better than I thought.
That's awesome,
it was,
man.
The judge saw right through it.
Here, let me do this.
Try to smear me along. I'm sorry.
I'm playing applause because that's awesome, and I'm loopy. Dude, that is amazing. Sorry about that. I was being a dumbass.
Thank you. That's awesome.
So
yeah,
what?
just
So what? So the judge. So the judge saw right through it. The judge was like, "Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to deal with that." I mean, what? So what happened? What ultimately came out?
so he pretty much went on his his tirade about how it's my way or the highway. He said that that's the way I am. He called me an absolutist,
He
and then
called
he said that I
you.
make
He called you
that I
an
make
absolutist. The judge.
exactly.
Oh God! So it started out where you're
Well,
thinking,
he said that
"Oh
in his
crap."
report. Yeah, he was trying to paint me as the narcissist.
Really? But it still worked out.
Yeah, and it worked out because okay, so he did his testimony. That was the first thing that happened, and he got cross-examined by my
Wait,
lawyer
wait a minute.
and my
Tumblers,
ex's
pause for a
lawyer.
minute. Let me just clarify. Are we talking about the judge saying this or the gal saying this?
The gal was
Oh,
saying
okay.
that I was an absolute. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't following. I'm going, holy crap, the judge was okay. So the gal got on the
No.
stand, got on the stand and basically proceeded to just in open court say you're a horrible, narcissistic, controlling Mike Foxtrot.
Exactly.
Holy cow. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what he did, and his whole report was basically saying that he wrote a whole like a whole page just saying how controlling I was, and I was like,
Really?
really? I was like,
Well,
wow.
but
I was like, man, the way
expect,
that he tried to paint me.
but you expected that from the report, right? I mean, you got the report, so you knew it wasn't going to, you knew his testimony wasn't going to go well, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
exactly. And my ex's attorney, she like lived by that report because
Oh, of
that's all they
course.
really had. But it was like, but the thing is, the jail hasn't even interviewed me since I got significant parenting time. He never asked me how I was doing. He never visited, which I
Right.
kind of understand that because of COVID. But it's like he can't even call me and do like a webcam thing. It's like even so. Anyways, so he did what he did when my ex's lawyer was, cross-examining him, and she was trying to build off of what he was saying about me being controlling.
Mm-hmm.
She pulled up OFW moments or messages that I sent to the ex, basically just giving parenting updates. And
Right.
then she tried to do that. She gave like 20. She did like 20 of them, and the first three, the judge was like, "What is wrong with what iTumblers is saying? Like, there's nothing wrong with this." And then
The judge
he
said
was
that.
looking at
The
them
judge said that.
crazy. Yeah,
Nice.
exactly. She's like, "What is wrong with what he's saying?" So they were over there. It was actually when I saw what they were doing, I was like, "This is actually making me look good. Like, why are they? It's like they're trying to attack me, but like they're doing me a favor."
Wait a minute. Let me just.
And
So
so they were
this isn't your attorney bringing this stuff up. Your ex's attorney is bringing up our family wizards moments and highlighting it. Your ex's attorney is highlighting your comments, and the judge is going, "Hey, wait a minute. This guy sounds reasonable." That's what happened.
exactly.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah. So the JL and her attorney, I
Sorry.
mean, the ex's attorney were looking like silly. so, so I was like, wow. I was like, are they dumb? Because I'm looking at this, I'm like, you're actually making me look like a responsible parent, but you're trying to take statements out of context. And the JL tried to defend it. He couldn't defend some of the things that my ex's lawyer was bringing up, like some of the comments that I guess
Yeah.
some of the moments that I was saying. He's like, that's not really that bad, but
So
So really, and then by the end of it, so I don't want to go into every detail about it.
yeah.
Super long, those 2 days. But by the end of his, before he was about to leave, because he didn't need to stay for the whole two days. After he was cross-examined, the judge asked, "Has the mother has she ever compromised with the father?" And he's like, I don't know." He's like,
Oh my
"No,
God.
He's like, "Can you give me one example of the mother compromising with the father?" He's like,
Wow.
no." She's like, "Okay, well, what else did she ask?" She was just like, "Is he, I can't remember all these questions off the top of my head, but basically by the end of it, she asked like 3 or 4 questions to him, and he didn't have any response. Oh yeah, one of the biggest questions was, "Has there been any issues with his parenting time?" And he's like, no."
You know.
And it was just, it was
Wow.
pretty bad. He discredited himself. I mean,
Good.
he looked totally biased.
Well, let me.
Yeah.
I mean, so what I'm trying to remember. I apologize. I don't remember the details, but so
No, that's fine.
were you going in for what? So what were you wanting? 50/50 or what ultimately came out? Or was she trying to reduce your time? I can't remember what happened on that one.
Well, the JL was trying to reduce my time.
Right. Okay, that's right. Temporarily, you got your time
So
increased. The gal was trying to say, let's go back to what was before. Okay. Which that sounded flaky when you told me
yeah.
that. Okay,
So
I
what
remember
was
that.
yeah. So before we had the JL report, the ex's attorney was trying to keep me where I was at right now because I don't think that they felt confident. And
Uh-huh.
then the JL said like, oh no, we should reduce his parenting time. Then they felt all confident, and then they wanted to settle on that in court. And so I was like, all right. So pretty much where, to answer your question, we were like, my attorney was like, look, you're not going to get significantly any more than what you have right now. You're already given a lot right now. It's like she's not on drugs. She's not abusing the kid.
Yeah.
He's like, that's just the way it is right now. So anyway, um, the ex did really bad in court. She couldn't answer her own when she was being cross-examined by my attorney. She could not answer. She looked really silly, and she actually made false accusations towards me that didn't add up. And I think it just didn't make any sense at that point. And so by the end of it, trying to quickly go through it, the judge just basically said the father is at least not going to lose the parenting time that he has right now. As far as legal custody goes, she didn't touch on that either.
Oh,
And they
bummer.
tried to get on to me about the ex's lawyer in the jail tried to get on to me about that I got out of co-parenting counseling because I couldn't afford it at the time. And so my lawyer was like, just say that you're willing to do it and just say that you want to find a more affordable co-parenting counselor so that way it gets ahead of their argument. So
Yeah.
that way you don't look like the parent that is,
Right.
that doesn't look like he's trying to get out of this, just say that you're going to do it.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was like, all right. So I did that. And basically the whole legal custody thing is up in the air right now. I at least know that I'm not going to lose my time. If anything, I'm only going to gain at this point.
Good.
And if anything, I'm only going to gain from a final decision-making standpoint because right now we have joint legal custody with her having the final decision-making authority over all four legal matters. At this point, she has there's a potential that she may lose that now at this point. I mean, at least some of it. So
No,
we
so
first came, I said it, and my attorney surprised me. I was like, I want joint legal custody with myself having a final say over everything. And then in his
yeah.
closing statement, he surprised me, but he did ask me this before. He was like, I told him, what are the two most important things that you do want? And I was like, well, education and medical. So when it came down to his closing statement, he was like, the petitioner wants education and medical, which we didn't talk about before he was about to say that. But I think he was really trying to make me look like the compromising one
Mm-hmm.
and say like, hey, I said this yesterday. We're willing to do this right now. Like that's what we're willing to come to. At least you can get education and medical. And I think that he at least wanted me to get something out of it rather
Nice.
than
Yeah. Yeah.
all or nothing.
No, I think,
So it's just kind
yeah.
of one of those things that I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine. All I was going to say is I think a lot of times, the whole thing is judicial theater anyways. And I think sometimes, it wouldn't even surprise me if your ex's attorney is sick of her BS and she forced the issue to make
Mm-hmm.
herself look bad. And it's like, all right, Captain, you want to drive this thing into the iceberg? Let's do it. And then it seems often that, they won't let everyone win, but they won't unless they really are irritated at somebody, it's like it's mutual assured destruction. So, you don't get everything you asked for, but she definitely doesn't get everything she asked for. Hopefully out of this, what happens is your ex has the epiphany that, oh crap, this isn't going the way, no one's believing my shenanigans and stories and fake tears anymore. And maybe I need to do something
Yeah.
different. Right. But, sometimes they don't. But good for you, man. I'm glad. A lot of us were worried about you. So thanks for sharing. And I'm glad it went better than you thought. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, the judge didn't buy it. She was really annoyed with my ex's attorney, and they tried to smear me at the end, basically saying that I was again an absolutist. I only cared about my ego. It was all about winning for me, and it was just
Projection.
like my lawyer typed up this entire thing, and then she just like rambled off the top of her head, just like trying to smear me. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's like you don't have any evidence to back up what you're saying. Yeah, maybe I did make some snarky comments, but that's just because sometimes I'm frustrated,
Oh yeah.
and maybe I am being a little bit of a smart butt, to her.
Mm-hmm.
But my intentions are always good, and even
Yeah.
when she was asked by her attorney, like, is he a loving father? She's like, yes. And she's like, does he look after the best interest of the child? She said yes, which is kind of funny that she said that because her attorney was asking me those same questions right before. And I said, yeah, she's a loving mother. I was like, I'm not going to disparage her so much because I think that when you do that, you lose a sense of credibility.
Oh yeah.
But she was like, does she look, yeah. And then she was like, does she look after her best interest? I said, no, she doesn't. But it's kind of funny that she said that just because it was like,
That is funny.
I mean, it's just like that just contradicts everything that you just said. That I mean, I'm a controlling narcissist basically.
Yeah.
But then you're saying that I actually do because I think it was a mistake on her end to say that. But I mean, it was good for me. So, but anyways, I just wanted to
thanks.
Share a quick update. I don't know what the order is going to be, but once I do, I'll
at least you're feeling better about the whole thing, right? I mean, I'm sure this last week has just been, you've had to been even on, what was it, Monday when you called, that was, you weren't having a good day. So this had to be a stressful week, I mean, I would.
It was.
Well, good, man.
But thank God we have your channel to help, go through this, and your callers are amazing. I mean, your callers and listeners and your members are amazing as well. And they're all very encouraging and very good people. And so, yeah, just always thanks for what you do.
Thanks, man. Thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Wayne. Have a good weekend and happy Halloween.
Oh, yeah, you too. Man, I love hearing success stories. Here, I'm going to do this again. I'm going to make it loud. That is awesome. I mean, I know it would be better if it was even more crushing. A more crushing victory? Is that a word? Crushing victory? Anyways, holy cow. It's good. I think, how am I going to say this? We have to make sure that with all the crap that's being spun around, that we don't fall into the pit of despair and accept defeat before it's over, right? It's not over until it's over. It's incredibly stressful. I'll give you that. But I mean, I think sometimes the problem is we get to the point where in our own mind, we're like, oh crap, I'm going to lose. And you kind of just give up. I was falling into this category early on. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to lose. Everyone's believing her BS. Nothing's going quote unquote my way. The kids are being turned. They're completely, every time I try to talk to them, they take it out of context and it ends up in more court documents. And I was just like, oh my God, this is going to go south. And I'm like, okay, I got to mentally prepare myself for this because I need to, when it happens, that's kind of the mindset I was in. I might have still been maybe a little bit in the if and when it happens. I need to be able to emotionally deal with this so I don't just completely fall apart. So I started preparing myself for that. I mean, this is, God, man, I mean, the early part of this, I mean, we had a therapist who was a just piece of garbage. This guy even was like, okay, in the middle of a high conflict divorce, all right, we're going to have a joint session with you and mommy, and we're going to have with the kids, and the kids are going to tell, are basically going to tell daddy how much of a piece of shit he is. And I'm like, are you out of your freaking mind? I mentioned that to my therapist, and she was like, you should file a complaint against his license on that. It's just, these things are so frustrating. I mean, I couldn't even imagine, when iTumblers called in on Monday and said, hey, I got the Gal report that says I'm a scumbag and I'm going into trial, not even a hearing, trial tomorrow. How devastating that had to be, just the whole panic and the catastrophic thinking that you had to have gone through. So, all right, let me look at some of the comments, see how things are going. Looks like the internet is not playing well with me today. Let's see. Oh yeah, I see Debbie say something about guys. Let's not talk about politics. We got enough problems on our hands. Let's just focus on our little issues and leave the politics out of it. Maybe next week we can discuss a little bit of it, but I don't even know if that would be a good idea. Let's see. John had said earlier, says the psychiatrist I hired had the motions and called out the activities the ex was doing to alienate the child. The gal and psychiatrist both agreed it was wrong. I was sent to a visitation center. Hey, sometimes these people, sometimes the professionals catch it right and back things up. Anyways, man, I'm just glad to hear some positive news. That's cool. It's like sometimes I wonder, and iTumblr's mentioned it, we have a really great community here. This is a really positive, supportive community. If you're new to my channel and you're not familiar with like the Discord, I wonder if I can pull that up real quick. Let me pull up over here. Or if you want to be, I have a DSD Discord server. Well, that didn't work. And you can get the invite if you just go to the main YouTube page, go to the banner, and then over here next to the website link and the PayPal link is a Discord link. That's an invite that'll get you in there. It's a Discord server. You have to get permission to be allowed into it. It's not tied to Facebook. It's not tied to, any of the other social media accounts. You can tie your YouTube account to it. But, and I think you can also get to it in the video description. I'm not going to pull it up because it'll create weirdness, but it's the nice thing about the Discord thing is it's not tied to any of your other stuff. So it's not that it's not a risk, because I guess everything is, but it's not the same as on Facebook to where you're Bill Smith and, they subpoena your records and want your YouTube passwords and they know who you are, right? I mean, and on Discord, you can use aliases and it's not tied to anything. I would highly encourage, okay, here's the other thing. If there's anybody that you want to if you're in the live chat or you're in the comments and you're like, hey, I really want to talk to the person 5 over there, and do it through the Discord. You guys can meet up on the Discord. You can text each other through the Discord. Hell, you can video and audio chat and never have to give away your real name, your phone number, your email. Everything is private. I would highly encourage you to do that. I know some people, once they've got on the Discord, they've actually exchanged information and, fine, we're all adults. You can do what you want. But I would take advantage of that so that you limit your exposure. And I think I'm going to sneeze, so give me a second. All right. I don't think it's going to happen, but at least now my eyes are watering. Holy crap. So, HC9 says, I can't wait till you get your orders, iTumbler. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what's actually written in there. I like what this. Merge says, iTumblers, you're going to win this for your children. In the long term, I hear and recognize your motivation, love for your children, strength, and sincerity. That is awesome. That is very true. It's just so hard to maintain your composure when you're going through all this. Let's see. Oh God, my eyes are not playing nice today. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to go to this other caller, 269. Hello, and welcome to the show.
Hey, it's Bill. I just wanted to add to what the other caller was talking about in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Right. what he stumbled into, basically, he got really, really lucky. What I've noticed in everything that I've learned about dealing with cluster Bs, uh, in a courtroom, if you're just a normal parent, you're asking about the kid's teeth, you're asking about the school grades, you're asking about the normal stuff that a normal couple would talk about at dinner.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing this relentlessly with them, you're texting them or you're emailing them, they're going to protect themselves. They're going to protect the false image. So they got to be better than you. How that attorney did what she wanted was she spun it on the attorney, gaslighted him, and he believed that the man was the perpetrator with the children. So when he showed the evidence to the judge went, "Hey, wait a minute, no, this is normal." So the judge recognized it, but because of the influence of the ex on the attorney, it doesn't have the emotional backup, the emotional story, and the gaslighting behind it. Because they could take a half glass of water and twist it and make you look bad, because they're using emotion and their influence to twist the narrative. So when the attorney couldn't do that, all the attorney did was present the evidence, and the judge saw right through it.
Right.
He got lucky. He stumbled into it. So what I want to say is that we have emotional memory. Do you remember going to the bathroom at your grandma's house when you were 11 years old?
No. But I don't remember a lot of things, so not a good example. But anyways, go ahead. Did I lose you? Oh no. I think we lost Bill. Yeah, it dropped. I think it dropped. Yep. No, it's gone. Anyways, no, I hear what he's saying on that. The last caller just brought up a really interesting point, and it's the same thing that I experienced in my situation. Is that it's like whenever your ex has an attorney and they're paying them, they're going to, for the most part, it appears. This is my opinion. They're going to believe whatever the other person says. So when they say, "Oh, the ex is a scumbag and they don't like the kids and they told me this and they said they never, whatever," they're going to go, "Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's the truth. That's the case we're building." And they'll just motor along and believe it. And then sometimes by doing it, they'll destroy their own case, like with what iTumblers was talking about in his situation. And then I think what happens is they just get to the point where once the money runs out, it's like, okay, we're done. Or because I remember in my situation, my attorney, I mean, they were very cautious how they said it. But the impression I was getting from my conversation with them and their conversation with the other attorney is that the other side was getting sick of their client. That it was just, they realized it was a bunch of crap and they just wanted it to get over. So they basically shaved off as much as they possibly could get. And then I think when they realized, oh, okay, there's no money. And part of the thing in my situation, as I've mentioned previously, we liquidated every dime we could out of the 401k. I would say my 401k, but it was technically our 401k. But I didn't want to go bankrupt, and I didn't want her to get, a ton of money and me lose my career and, be living not even in a van, living in an old box down by the river. And so when she went in and told the attorney that I had, a wad of cash, the attorney was laser-like focused on that money. Most of the discussions were all based on where's the money, where's the accounting for the money. I remember I had to provide it twice. I sent it in once, and they're like, "We want a full accounting of where everything went." I'm like, "I already gave you that." "We want it again." Okay, I'm like, "Here you go. This is all the bills. This is where the money went. This is where the money went to the taxes. The money is gone. It's gone. Zero." And I remember at one point when I was talking to the ex, because I didn't realize what I was dealing with, I asked her, I'm like, "You did tell, your attorney is so focused on this money. you did tell them there is no money, right? That we took it out, we paid off all the bills, and we paid it on taxes. Oh, I told, oh yeah, oh, bobblehead. Oh, of course I told them. And it wasn't until I finally provided the second round of accounting that they're like, oh, okay, fine, and stopped. And then actually, even then, it's not that everything stopped then, but things started to wrap up. The biggest long pole in the tent for me was the custody evaluation, because the ex kept not providing the information to the evaluator that they kept asking for. So they kept pushing the date out and out and out. And I'm like, oh dear God, when are we going to get this effing report? I'm trying to remember. We started the custody evaluation in December of whatever year that was. That's the year that she skipped out and wasn't there. And then we had the follow-up like maybe January or February. And then everything kept getting pushed out and pushed out. And it was like, it wasn't until the report finally came back. I remember getting the call. It's like, hey, the report's in. We just emailed it to you. So I read through it. Oh, just to be, for most people, you don't get a copy of your custody evaluation because it's dangerous for you to have, because if you disclose it, share it, anything like that, you can get in a lot of trouble. I mean, it's like the whole first thing is this is privilege and yada, yada, yada. The only person I ever gave a copy of that to was the kid's therapist, and the ex about lost her freaking mind. And I'm like, it was supposed to go. It says right in there, the order, it says that the, therapist is supposed to get it. That's who it is. I remember getting that call. You're going to jail. You had no right to share that. I'm like, what? I mean, I know why she was mad. I read the damn thing. Remember when I went in when the psychiatrist, I don't know why they were going to a psychiatrist, but whatever. When I went in and, and the guy's just poking me in the eye, boop, boop, boop. And he's like, yeah, your son's got an estranged relationship with his biological father. And I'm like, what? You're talking about me, dude. Oh, it was annoying. And I finally was just like, hey, I hear what you're saying. Have you seen this? Have you seen the custody evaluation? Because it talks about everything that's going on. Have you seen the school report, for the IEP? No. Maybe you should read this stuff. That's when things started to change. So anyways, I digress. Looks like we're still having more technical issues, which is a total bummer. Oh, I see. Shane says to H, I know this is a side conversation, but Shane in a while. Uh-oh, what did I miss? Oh, yeah. DeFi Dad made a comment saying, oh no, it's a COVID attack, the sneeze, joking here. Yeah, since I generally get sick a lot, this has been incredibly stressful, to say the least, all the crap going on. So, iTumbler says, the caller is correct. Attorneys will try to gaslight and project. Get ahead of their arguments. Man, that true. I've talked about that in the past. I don't think I've brought that up in a while. It was in a lot of the older videos. It's like, if you get wrapped up in a mistake, try to find ways to get around it or show that you're trying to deal with it. Show that it's not, not an issue, or that you recognize that there's areas of improvement. So my ex tried to do that even in the custody evaluation part. It was just bringing up all kinds of crap. I'm like, yeah, no, that used to be, I mean, she's talking about 2 decades of a relationship. It was easy for her to say, well, he was like this. I remember that was one. It was like, it's like, the evaluator's like, oh, your ex says that, you blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, huh, wow, I haven't thought about that in, 18 years. Yeah, she's right. That used to be true back when I was, 22. That which would have been, 20 years ago. It's just funny. They live in their own fantasy land. John says, when the ex's attorney made false statements about me, my attorney would say to the other attorney, who said that? Then the judge would have my ex talk in court, and she blew up her own case. Oh, that's awesome. That is phenomenal. Love it. Whoops, hit the wrong button. All right, let's see. I just read that one. Oh, I guess I should look at the comments that moderator Debbie is highlighting for me. Let me try to pull this over here so I can see it better. Let's see if I can find this one. Where did Shane say that? I'm looking for your comment, Shane. So Shane says, my ex told me the other day, quote, the kids are going to be able to choose where they want to live eventually. She's totally manipulating them. I fear my ex is gearing up for a case for more time. Don't let it completely freak you out. I know that's easy for me. Well, it's easy for me to say now that I'm 9 years into it and I've already gone through that, but I knew that was going on. I heard that from other people, how, and that whole comment right there, she was saying that to my son. It's like, well, you can choose where you want to go. It's okay if you want to live here full time and you only want to see your dad part time. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I know you have such an estranged relationship with him. It's so sad. Oh, God, that crap was so annoying. Fortunately, even with everything that was going on, my son and my kids never went that road. But I know had I pushed things harder on them and I've been more of an authoritarian, like she expected me to be, it would have been super easy for the kids to say, oh my God, I can deal with dad every other weekend or once a month or maybe a few weeks in the summer. But I can't deal with this constantly. God, dude, Shane, I feel for you, man, because those are really tough times. Here's the thing. Let me just to dwell on this for a moment as we're starting to wrap things up. And that's to everybody out there. Here, let me do it this way. Focus on building the relationships and strengthening the relationship with your kids. All the extraneous bullshit, I'll say it that way, don't get caught up in that, because that's where you make mistakes. When you start freaking out, going, oh my God, the ex is turning the kids, she's planting the seed, they're going to choose to live with her. You need to look at it and say, well, yeah, exactly. Then when they choose to live with me, then fine. At least you're okay with it, right? I'm being sarcastic. Don't do that. But focus on, like I said, fixing yourself, strengthening the relationship with your kids, and keeping things as calm, as stable, and loving as you possibly can. Again, that doesn't mean let them get away with everything. That doesn't mean that. You still have to have boundaries, but you just have to be cautious of how you deal with it so that you don't fall into that. I freaked out when I was like, oh my God, she's going to convince these kids to pick her. I'm like, oh my God, if she gets, from what my attorney told me, if she gets full custody, 80-20 or more, the likelihood that they would let her leave is going to increase, which would then turn into 100%, which also then would mean looking at the California calculator, the amount of money I would pay means I would have basically been living in someone's spare room and barely able to do that. And I'm like, oh my God, this can't happen. And I was completely freaked out by it, and it stressed me out, and I was completely spiraling out of control. I was getting reactive with the kids. Just, as long as you're not seeing, here's the reality. As long as when the kids are with you on your time, if they're not spending that entire time telling you what a piece of garbage you are and poking you in the eye and screaming that they want to be at the other parents, you're doing okay. Focus on that. Anyways, iTumbler says, my ex tried to get a pediatrician's note to not allow me to see my daughter. The pediatrician told her no. Crazy. Oh, they will use anything and everything they possibly can to manipulate the situation. I remember before the kids had the last therapist, she had found one and didn't tell me about it. Basically sent me a note like the day before. Oh, I have an appointment for the therapist. I'm like, well, who the hell are you talking about, right? And when I finally got the guy to call me back, which was actually on the day she was driving to the appointment, finally get this guy to call me back. And I'm like, hey, just so you know, we have a divorce decree. I have 50-50, joint. He's like, oh, well, I was told she had full custody. I'm like, no. Do you want a copy of the paperwork? He's like, no. I said, and my understanding is with joint, if both parents don't agree, you can't treat the kids. He goes, that's true. And I'm like, well, what's your background in high conflict, toxic divorces? And, I don't know I didn't say parental alienation because I don't know if I knew about that at the time. And he's like, oh, that's not my specialty. And I'm like, nope. So he called the ex and said, I'm sorry, but I can't see your kid. And she lost her freaking mind. How dare I do anything? But I'm like, well, how dare you? You just arbitrarily, unilaterally pick somebody, set everything up. Anyways, they all play the same game. And they play fast and loose with the reality of what's going on. Mr. Man says, my son calls me dad and we have fun together. I never speak of anything else. It's your best bet. I mean, that's kind of what Dr. Amy was talking about the other day. Guys, it works. Focus on when you're with that's why the black hole thinking, and I know we're almost out of time. The black hole thinking video, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to bring it up, but just it's on the main page. It's so damn important. When the kids are with you, the ex is in a black hole. When the kids are with them, they're in a black hole. Focus on your time with them and try to pretend like the other parent doesn't exist. I know that's hard, especially whenever they're like, oh, mommy does this and mommy does that, or daddy does this or daddy does that, whatever it is. It's incredibly frustrating, but focus on your time with them. Focus on building that relationship. Focus on making them feel safe and loved in your environment. It's not going to change everything overnight. It's not going to make the kids, go, oh my God, I picked, like in my situation, I picked daddy. I mean, hell, my youngest at one point was hinting towards that. And as soon as the ex figured out, she recalibrated her evil needle and started focusing on the daughter and nearly destroyed my relationship with her. 9 years into this, 15 years old, the crap is still ongoing. But on that, let me do this. Thank you guys for hanging out with me this week, especially with me operating at lower speed. I do want to thank the channel members. I'm going to hit this right now. Thank you guys who have clicked the button, even at the lowest level, at the $2 level. It really adds up and helps keep the lights on and pay for all this crap. Like even the software is costing me money. Anyways, hopefully you have an outstanding weekend. Have an outstanding Halloween. And I'll see you guys back here on Monday.